Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lock Shop. Nielson with you right now. Husk's going to be joining us right away. It is presented to you by our partners over at Coolbet. If you are not yet signed up for account at Coolbet, use the code LOCKSHOP when you sign up. You get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. We've got the EST, WST Lock Shop Poker Series event number 3 next Tuesday night. Reed Wilkins has entered the fray. Reed Wilkins says he's going to make his poker debut. So that's a nice addition. Another EST bounty possibly in the cards over there. So no pun intended. I didn't mean to make that card joke, but it ended up working out pretty well. All right, let's bring in Huss today. He's ready. He's looking to make a deeper run at the poker event on Tuesday. If you've not yet signed up or registered, very easy. Go to coolbet.com, download the poker software, go to tournaments, search Lock Shop, and you can pre-register. If not, you can register Wednesday. You can register even a little bit after we begin. So can't wait, man. We got a week of NFL to get through, a couple CFL games to call, some more hockey. Obviously, World Series begins. But then everything, like there's no Oilers or Jets Tuesday night. There's no NFL action Tuesday night. The focus can be on the game we love, poker.
The entire sports world will be tuned in to the stream or participating with us. Listen, if you enjoy throwing the cards down on the table, join us next Tuesday for number 3 of the Lock Shop Poker Series. It's been an absolute blast. And looking forward to another great night. I'll be coming up. I've got a lot going on right now, Dusty. I've had a crazy morning, but I think that I have now done everything
packed?
I need to do. I'm packed.
Good.
Well, for the most part, I got to throw some cords and stuff in a bag, but I pre-taped something for WST, so I'll be able to make the last touches. And then I'm literally going to sign off the show and be in a vehicle in like 1 minute to race to the airport to get to the airport, which is nice. Chances are I might actually be able to see most of the Jets-Kraken game tonight once I get into Vegas. I should have about
that's a
40
direct,
minutes or so.
That's a direct Winnipeg, Vegas? Nice.
Yeah. Shout out WestJet for the direct Vegas flight. We don't have a lot, although they're coming back. We got a direct Atlanta flight now, a direct LA flight. I think that has a lot to do with the movie industry, like just how many people are here. There's
Really?
all these movies filmed here. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Atlanta's a big movie hub too, right? Atlanta and
I think Atlanta less so. The LA for sure.
I think somebody was. I listened to a bunch of Marvel podcasts, and I think Marvel does a lot of stuff in Atlanta.
What's Marvel?
Oh my God, like superhero movies, like Iron Man, Thor. All those, like the Marvel.
You're listening to like an Iron Man podcast?
No, a Marvel Comics podcast. Mark Mageau and Corey Graham do it. It's like they talk about like pop culture and stuff. But Marvel Comics, like the movies, like Marvel movies, like Spider-Man.
Okay, I'm familiar with that. I didn't.
Yeah, I think there's sound stages in Atlanta. I could totally be wrong, but I think it is. I think it's down there.
Yeah, I don't know if any of those big ones have been done, but. I don't know. Bob Odenkirk's hanging around town right now. He's doing something here, and there's always a few obscure Hollywood people kicking around Winnipeg, and they have that direct flight. But so that is taken care of. I'm looking forward to the show. Jets looking to go undefeated tonight, but I also have something that is weighing heavily on my mind right now before I press send.
Okay,
and that is the final CFL picks of the year.
I made mine last night.
I just got the email from you need to go 3-1 this week to be above. Well, I guess if you went, you need to go 3-1 to be above 500. You're 38-39.
Okay. Yeah. So 3-1 would get me above 500. Yeah.
Which would get you above 500. I haven't been paying too close attention to the standings. I just knew that Glue Guy was like 5 games up on me a few weeks ago. I have closed the gap. Well, actually, I've taken the lead. I am 11 games above 500. Ooh. 44 and 33, picking every CFL game this year.
Great work, buddy.
And then Lucas and Glue Guy are 42 and 35. So 2 games back.
Wow.
And this is a weird week, as we've talked about. We've got 1.5s with Ottawa and Edmonton at home. We've got the Bombers at -7 and Saskatchewan at -3.5. And the crazy thing about it is that final game of the year could absolutely determine victory, a tie, even losing. But the crazy thing about that game, as we talked about yesterday, is that line is almost a fictional line because we don't know the scenario of the game when it will be played. As I said, if the Bombers lose, that should be like a 12, 14-point spread for Saskatchewan. If the Bombers win, I really do wonder what Saskatchewan's going to do. Like, are they better than Calgary? Absolutely. Is Calgary going to have any life left? Are they going to, just pack it in beforehand? I don't know. So I've got to send this into Iwanic. There's a lot on the line. But overall, been a great CFL season. I knew I was doing pretty well, but I did not realize 11 games above 500 through 77. I will definitely take that.
Yeah, man, that's a huge season. 11 games above 500, like 44 and 33 is very, very impressive. I didn't think too much about the lines this week. Maybe that's why I'm 38 and 39. But I went Ticats +1.5. I went Elks -1.5 at home. I went with the Alouettes +7 because it's a big number regardless of the situation. And then I do think Calgary's at the point where I don't know if Calgary knows what they're doing, like let alone how are we supposed to know what they're doing. So regardless of the situation, I'm on the Riders -3.5. So I didn't spend too much time debating it. I think it's a week that shapes up, especially after we had success last week in a similar sort of week, reading the board and the situations. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. There wasn't anything that I was super torn on.
3-0 last week, which was nice.
Yeah, it was a good week last week. So. Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm going to take the Bombers. Even though that's a big line, because I think there's going to be absolutely no ease up on the throttle from Winnipeg. And even if the game is tight in the first half, I do wonder what Moss does in the second half. It is a long game. And even if they just kind of back it off in the second half, maybe that game kind of gets away and the Bombers get it safely. Either way, maybe I'll download a Marvel podcast and check out the world of Marvel.
the MCTV podcast with Mark Boudreau and Corey Graham, who used to work with us at 1260. And they talk about like right now they're doing a lot on the Penguin, that new Penguin show that's out. It's absolutely terrific. It's not like they sit down and they mostly talk about TV shows and movies and stuff. But they're not just diving into comic books and being like, "Did you see what happened on the splash page 3?" Like it's not.
Forgive my ignorance. Like, do they still even make comics? Like,
oh yeah,
are there new episodes of like comic books? Like you can go in and get. Oh, here's the Spider-Man number. I don't know how much numbers they are now, but they're probably in the thousands.
I haven't bought a new comic book in a long time, but yes, new comics are still being made all the time. It's not an industry that has died. A lot of people still like to go pick up comics and read them.
As a kid, I always remember picking those up at Sev or whatever the drugstore is. Magazines in general have basically died. There's very few magazines from our youth that are still kicking around. Some have gone online. But yeah, I didn't think we'd be talking about this today, but I now that I think about it, I have not seen a physical comic. Certainly not anything that would be new. I guess just there's specialty shops for that stuff, or is it all online?
No, there's comic shops like with the Wayne Sports Cards, who we have a partnership with. We do the crack pack and stuff through them. They've got a whole comic book section, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comic books at the store. I'm sure there's still the odd comic book store, but that's a good question. I don't know when the peak of comic books would have been, but I'm pretty sure it's probably not now. And you are probably right. I think comic book guy would probably want the comic book as opposed to reading the comic book storyline on like a tablet. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like,
well, that's why that's why that is sort of neat. Speaking of Wayne and the crack pack, have you been cracking it all lately? What's
buddy,
where
I've been too busy. I've been too busy to crack. A quick update. I've got I've got 6 boxes that I bought like a month ago that I was like, I'm mixing a break here. And they're still sitting on the old crack pack desk. So I've got to get to that. I definitely want to get back to it because I love opening the cards. And I've been talking. I've been talking with my wife, as she's subbing part time. She probably hopefully be working full time in the kids' school next year. But I was like, listen, I said I'll do the break, I'll open it, but you handle the rest of it. Like you go to Wayne's and pick up the cards, you sort them, you wrap them, you ship them, and that'll be like your sort of part-time job. It'll be a part-time crack pack assistant. And I'll just pop in, big time it, boom, 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 do the break, and then she takes over from there. And if that was the case, then I'd probably still have time to do it. But for me, it's not like doing the break takes a long time. It's like 35 to maybe an hour and a half sometimes. It's the sorting of the cards, putting them in the things, wrapping them, labeling them, printing off all the labels, shipping them. Like that's the time-consuming part. So I told her the other day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to bring this up with her. I said, so what do you think if like we brought back Crack Pack and I only did the breaking, you did everything else? And I thought she was going to slap me in the face and be like, you're a effing idiot. But she's like, yeah, I mean, if you teach me how to do that stuff, I could do that. I was just like, what? You're a dream girl. She's a dream girl. What can I say?
I've always said you're quite the hard worker. It's amazing what you've done building up Edmonton Sports Talk, but I now realize how this has sort of come together. You're essentially running a sweatshop at home. Last year, and I would be there. It was like, and like under the guise of this is fun, kids, you'll love it. I mean, you have basically had a assembly line in the back with Marshall and Elizabeth, and now your lovely wife's getting into it too. This is hey, you know what? It takes a village. It takes a village, doesn't it? And all hands on deck at the Nielson show.
I love some of the reaction here. Big Uke says the Crack Pack is the forgotten stepchild of EST. Right? Like EST just took over it. It's the one kid that nobody cares about. But I do care about it. I will be doing it again. Like as soon as Grey Cup's over, I'll be breaking again. Dudley says, Dusty to his wife, listen, I'll do all the fun stuff. You do all the work. Which is really good too. And the Soapkirk says, Dusty runs a nice crack pack. Great price options. Can't wait till it's back, dude. Yeah, we'll get her back we'll get it sometime. I don't know if I would describe it as sweatshop, but Tammy would get Marshall and the Muzz involved regularly on the she's like, we can't go outside and play until we do shipping. And they're like, okay. Yeah. And actually the way you said it was almost like I imagine how like a drug lair would be, because there was like a little scale and Marshall would put the thing on the scale and weigh it to make sure it could be shipped regularly and then pass it to Elizabeth and she'd put the address on it. And and it's probably how it is.
Grab the baggies, Elizabeth.
Anyway, thank you for the interest in the Crack Pack. I got a 6-box mixer I'm just sitting on.
What boxes of what?
2 boxes of Ultimate, 2 boxes of Upper Deck Extended Series from last year, which I think had the Bedard Canvas Young Gun, and then we really like Stature. I got 2 boxes of Stature. It's a pretty popular product within the Crack Pack, so they're just sitting there waiting for a break. And what's the deal with the new?
What's the deal? Is the new Upper Decks out already?
Yeah, Upper Deck Series 1 came out last Wednesday.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's recent.
Yeah, it came out last Wednesday.
I haven't spent. I mean.
Oh boy, some of the
right now. Who does everyone want?
Somebody and who did Wayne say? I was in there last week. I've only cracked a couple of packs. Big Uke, somebody over in the nasty chat. There's 4 or 5 pretty good rookies in it. There's no Bedard that everybody is chasing this year, so it'd be a little bit different. It's more reasonably priced. What's that?
Mitch Cover, is he Series 2?
I don't know. That's a good question on Mitch Koff. Is this a Mitch Koff? Yeah, I'll find it as we work our way through the show here. Let's see, 20, 24, 25, Upper Deck Series 1. We'll see. Because, Wayne said there was like 3 or 4 pretty good rookies to go after this year. But it's much more reasonably priced this year just because you're not going after the Bedards this year.
One of my friends that's quite into that said that, if he had, he said he thinks now is a great time to buy a Bedard.
Now would be the time.
You get a PSA 10 Bedard. The craziness of last year, the prices have come down to a more reasonable level. And if you believe in Bedard, that he is going to be a superstar in this league, that thing's only going to go up. So you get a nice graded 10 Bedard, and you just sit on that sucker for the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, not a bad idea. I ended up getting in on my McDavid graded young gun at a good time. It was before the pandemic. I got it for like $450, and it's just gone way up. I was at a store. I should have bought. There was like 6 of them. If I would have known how much it was going to blow up, I should have bought them all. But yeah, I got the one.
If only could have known that Connor McDavid would turn into a really good player.
If only I could have known that there'd be a global pandemic that would somehow drive up the card industry to levels before never seen. It's just, yeah, it's crazy. All right, NHL. Let's get in. Hey, by the way, Washington Capitals last night. Team total last night. Ovechkin goal last night. Hit for the cycle. I made the Caps the lock shop play of the day. You did lay out the Ovi goal before we wrapped lock shop yesterday, and you were telling us about how Jonathan Davis was like, you might want to get on the team total. So all in all, I mean, it's just one game last night, but we got to be happy with it.
No, it was phenomenal. And you know what? The team total came in the second period. So I was quite happy. I was doing some stuff. I was out picking up some food, and I had the game on in my car. And they had a power play. I want to say with about 5 minutes left, Morgan Frost took sort of an ill-timed power play. And I'm like, okay, this is OV time. They didn't get it. And then they pulled the goalie. And of all people, PLD, Pierre-Luc Dubois, scores his first of the season into the empty net. And I'm like, God damn you, Dubois.
I think he had a couple of assists last night, too.
He did. He had 1 and 2. And so This is how you're ingratiating yourself in Washington now, selfishly taking an empty net goal when all empty net goals should be given to Alex Ovechkin. And then about 45 seconds later, they pulled the goalie again. Tortorella didn't care, or maybe he was just trying to help out Ovi. And Ovi popped an empty netter. So no one's getting more empty netters this year than Washington, as long as they actually get some empty nets. I mean, there's got to be a decree in that room that if Ovechkin is on the ice, you cannot shoot in an empty net. You have to pass to number 8. But yeah, it was nice. I think both of those numbers, I'm just going to pull it up right here. Both those numbers were pretty good. We had, plus 140 on the OV goal and plus 144 on the team total. So we'll wrap that into a field goal prop for tonight's Thursday night.
This was just tweeted at me from somebody else. And the only thing I can think of is that he's listening or watching the lock shop right now. But about an hour ago, LeBron James tweeted out, "Best place to order comic books from, ? I used to collect when I was younger, Batman being my favorite. I can order and read from iPad, or best to do it straight off comics, ? And then James Gunn. What are the odds of this? I mean, I didn't even know about this. It's not how it came up even today. Anyway, James Gunn, who runs one of like the Marvel or DC universes, replied to him, was like, DM me, I'll hook you up. So there you go. LeBron James also wanted to get back into comic books again. It's a popular time, I guess. Who knew?
You know who should maybe go into comic books? Bronny. Because Bronny, like, what did you think of that? What did you see that? Like, we were actually out.
I watched the entire game.
We turned it over. We saw them come in. I'm like, okay, here it goes. And like, we did not talk about this. I didn't know until late that Coolbet had all of those exclusives on Bronny.
Yeah, I saw it come out a little bit earlier. Yeah.
But let's just say that, in my opinion, the under 1.5 points looked really good. And then I saw him come out. And I'm like, unless there is like a legitimate agreement between the two teams to like give LeBron his dad moment and set him up, this ain't happening. I mean, he looked so overmatched. And I guess, you're nervous, you're going in, but I mean, I don't know how this is going to go.
Well, it's not going to go much, I don't think. I think he'll probably spend most of the year in the G League.
G League?
I would think he probably spends most of the year in the G League. If they put him in, they were up by 19. Like, they got themselves in a pretty good spot where you could make it happen. I understand why they did it for LeBron. Cool moment. Did give him a pretty good look at an open three that he didn't knock down. It's a good looking shot, but he didn't bury it. Place would have absolutely gone mad. Like, I don't know if you were listening. Were you listening to it with the sound on? Like, because the very first time LeBron passed the ball to Bronny, the place erupted. Like, it was just like, it was, and then he had a good look at a three, and then that was it. They got him his minutes, give LeBron that thing with his son. But I mean, if he's up with the big team, he would only play in garbage time. That's not going to be good for his development as a player. It just makes too much sense for him to be in G League and let him develop in G League for a few years. Like, his last preseason game, he had 17 points. So there might be something there. But let him develop in G League a little bit and see where it goes. I think it'd be the wrong move to have him be the 12th man on the bench all season. So, I mean, he's a bit of a shifty defender. He just looks so small compared to his dad. You know what I mean? Like, he just looks so tiny compared to LeBron. So he actually got stuck in a one-on-one defending situation with Anthony Edwards, and Edwards shake and bake a little bit, and Bronny got a hand in his face, and he came up short on the rim, but got one rebound. It was a ceremonial moment for LeBron and his kid, and I mean, to me, the only way this becomes an issue is if they're forcing minutes for him in games where it doesn't necessarily belong. They were up 19. They gave him 3 minutes. They got to have their moment. And the Lakers actually looked really good in that game compared to what we saw last year. They still only shot like 17% from the field, but led the entire way against a pretty good Minnesota team. So we'll see. But I think he probably settles into the G League and is probably in their rotation of 8 guys down there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, can he play in the G League? Probably. I mean, I think who knows? Maybe he can come and sign with the Sea Bears next summer.
Get some more action in. Get some more action in. There's a lot of G League guys in this CEBL all over the place, right? Isn't
yeah.
There?
Yeah. There's a bunch of guys. I mean, not a ton, but I think the top players have the opportunity sometimes to go into the G League. I think they'd all prefer to that and be there. I mean, you're one step away from the NBA. The teams, I think, are much more aware of you as opposed to going overseas to one of the million basketball leagues over. But yeah, I didn't expect a lot from Bronny. We didn't get a lot from Bronny. And I mean, I know there's so much made. Oh, this is such a great moment. Like, I get it. It's sort of cool for the family, but I mean, there's zero chance that this guy would be in the NBA in any other scenario. It's not like, it was just a really good player, young, and it happens to be that he's come up. I mean, this has all been basically done for LeBron. And listen,
this situation was the Warriors did say they were thinking about drafting him, but let him slide out of respect to LeBron. I mean, people act like he shouldn't be playing professional ball at any level. And he was a high school All-American who played in the McDonald's game and put up like 18 points against all the other best grade 12 guys across the country, had a major heart defect, and went into the first year at USC. Has he been fast-tracked because he's LeBron's kid? Yeah, I think that's completely fair. But I saw somebody yesterday who was just like, everybody says Bronny belongs in the G League, but is he good enough to play there? I'm like, listen, before his heart defect, he was projected to be a top 20 pick. That guy can't play in the G League? Are you kidding me? Like, he can play in the G League.
But the thing is, when we say he was projected to be a top 20 pick, I mean, if his name is Ralph Jones, is he a top 20 pick? I mean, like, there was just so much the attention, everything that comes in. No, that's never going to change. He is LeBron's son. I get it. But as I say, I don't want to take the shine off because there are a few guys that you can almost say, I understand, I get it. But for Bronny, I almost feel bad for him a little bit. Like, he's going to have this great life. Money's never going to be an issue. He's I believe he's the only second rounder in the draft to get a 4-year contract. So listen, he's been taken care of, but everyone expects him to do things that I'm not sure that he's capable of. And you do wonder at what point and how long LeBron plays and then what happens to him, because I guarantee you, they're not going to care as much when LeBron's gone. It'll be more about winning basketball games.
That's true too. I mean, he was the only second-round player drafted this year to put up double-digit points in a preseason game. So, I mean, like,
probably the only one that got a chance to play in the preseason. Like, how many of those guys even signed contracts?
Second-round guys would get a chance to play here and there. In preseason, for sure. Like, I don't. Yeah, I mean, everybody's making a big deal out of it when, like, most second-round picks don't turn out in NBA anyway. You know, like, they just don't. Very few have. And very few become impactful players. So we'll see. I mean, it will be ridiculous if, like, we're acting like he's going to be in their starting 5 because he's LeBron's kid. Like, he got to play 3 minutes, a special moment for the NBA's all-time leading scorer to play with his kid for 3 minutes, and now he'll either be relegated to the bench for the rest of the season or be playing in the minors. And, I mean, I just don't know why you can have an issue with somebody playing in the minors. I don't get it.
Hey,
I don't understand.
I think we need to bring Jake in right away before we finish this topic, because
Hey, Trev, can you come bring Jake in?
Some of his tweets, some of his mentions in the chat now.
I see. Yeah.
He's going to be coming in hot.
There he is. There's Jake Bolin Moss. Jake will be coming in here right away from Coolbet. We're going to get into the Thursday nighter. We'll see where it goes. Hey, Jake, how are you?
The glazing is insane for this guy, man. Like,
did you take the over 1.5?
Luckily for everybody, the minute LeBron's out of the league, so is Bronny, and we don't have to worry about Dusty doing 20 years of Bronny defending. It's so embarrassing, man. Like, the only reason Huss is sitting here like giving logical points, and you're just like, well, you know, he had 7 points in a preseason game. It's like, who cares?
Yeah, but no, stop for a second, Jake. Jake,
if his name wasn't LeBron James Jr., he would not be in the league, Dusty.
Why? How are you guys saying this? Go look at every scouting report for the last 4 freaking years. He was on every list to be drafted. What's the issue here?
He averaged 4 points at USC.
There was a guy taken in the first round this year who averaged 2 points. Is everybody bitching about that guy? No, it's a horrible take.
Because he's probably supposed to be there.
But he only averaged 2 points.
Bronny James.
He only averaged 2 points. How's that guy get drafted in the first round?
Defensive specialist.
No, he's not a defensive specialist.
Like, I can understand the LeBron. And listen, I'm actually all for this argument that it's like, you know, Bron wants to play with his son and he gets what he wants. He's been here long enough. I'm totally fine with that. It's the fact that we're defending Bronny, like, you know, he should be in this spot. Like, I think you're right, though, Dusty. I don't think he's NBA caliber. And I think there's possibility that he could be one day. But it's just the fact that we're going to do this, like, over and over. Like, he may never play in the NBA once LeBron's out of the league. Like, that's a real possibility.
I don't think you're wrong, but what are we going to do over and over again? He played his 3 minutes. He's going to be in the G League. And I don't even know if we talk about him for the rest of the season.
I hope not. I hope this
I don't think we will.
A regular weekly Lock Shop segment.
Lock Shoppers, this is on me. This is on me for bringing it up. I thought we would have a fun couple minutes, just kind of like a bit. We've got completely off.
But like
the rails.
Jake, like you said you didn't have a problem with the moment.
No, the moment. I don't have a problem with the moment.
So
I think LeBron.
That's the moment.
For LeBron, he deserves it. I actually agree with us. I feel bad for Bronny because, like I said, his name's not Bronny James. Like, who knows? Like, this isn't even a story, right? But it's because he is. I get that. I get all that. I just think, like, I don't know.
LeBron might be doing this for TikTok. Did you see the video that he put out where he was doing like the rookie hazing and he filled Bronny's entire car up with Trix cereal? Yeah. And Bronny came out to do thing. I mean,
yeah, as much as I hate LeBron, I mean, I did like that commercial.
It was a Nike scripted commercial, right?
Cheesy, but I love Nike, and I thought that commercial was quite funny.
They're getting it.
Don't be late. Don't be late, Rook.
Why don't we move off of the Bronny debate?
I do want to give a quick shout out to
shop for a long time.
I do want to give a quick shout out to the guy who's like, the Jew says, I will absolutely take the over that Dusty will talk about Bronny more this season. And I will guys, say this. I will make you guys a promise. I will not bring up Bronny James again on the Lock Shop unless it's brought up by one of you two guys. I don't think it'll be necessary. I don't think there'll be a reason to do it. I don't think he's probably going to step on the court again in an NBA game this year. So I don't think there'll be a reason to talk about it. They had their moment. He needs to play in the G League. Simple as that.
Just wait till the Lakers are getting blown out and he's playing an entire fourth quarter and like he goes for like 10 points and Dusty's like, double-digit night for Bronny.
I won't be bringing that up. I will be bringing it up. If he ends up on TMZ, with a bunch of like basketball groupies or something like that, then we'll be bringing him up.
You know what?
Back in on Bronny.
We might have to bring him up because he could probably start on the Raptors this season. That entire squad should be in the G League.
That's the auto fade of the year this year, the Raps. Although the unis look nice.
Does anybody care about them in Toronto right now, Jake? Like, is it already at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like the diehards do. They're like, I always look at them as my third team. You know, if we're looking at it, it's Leafs, Jays, Raps. Like, the run was amazing when they had Kawhi. Since then, it's been quite the fall off. You know, and I think they've made some really nice moves. I do like Emmanuel Quickly, although he got injured last night. Scotty is a great player. RJ Barrett's hurt right now. So, they're down a few of their, kind of rotational guys. You think RJ is a starter. Kelly Olynyk's probably, in the top 8. But I don't know. I like, it's not exciting. Like, can't wait to sit down every night and watch Raptors basketball. Like, I'm watching the Leafs every single night. The Raps will be like, like last night, there wasn't a lot on.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of money on the Raps. So I was like, well, let's just check in. And it was off by the end of the third.
See, but once again, betting provides you reason to check in on something, right? Which is why that's why I love it. I think it gives you a reason to be fired up and get in on some of these games. So
why they invented the point spread, folks. Like the Toronto Raptors.
Pretty much is why they invented the point spread. Do you remember, Jake? I don't know. Maybe you bet the under on it, but you remember what the win total was on the Raptors this year? I'm just curious. I never looked at it once. Like, what would it be at? I'm very
I could probably go check.
Yeah, I wonder.
Here.
I wonder.
Here, let me guess. Let's
guess.
Guess here. If you can actually pull up a number, there's 81 games in an NBA season. I'm going to bet their win total was 28.5.
Did you say 28.5?
28.5. That's my guess.
Yeah, that might be selling it a little short. I'd probably say around 31-ish.
Interesting.
Interested to see what the number is.
I'm actually almost there. So should I make a guess before I look?
Yeah, make a guess before you do it too.
What was yours, Huss?
I had 28.5. Dusty's got 31.5.
Wow, those are low. I think I'll go 34.5, but maybe I'm being optimistic.
Okay.
Maybe I'm being optimistic. Toronto Raptors. Sorry, folks. I gotta knock off some of these markets here.
Let's see.
Peek behind the curtain. Apologies, a lot of dead air right
all
now.
Good. No, all good. It's suspense. We're waiting on the edge of our seat.
30.5. Like, you both are right there.
Smack dab, right in the middle. All right. 30.5.
Well,
all right. Can you see how much action came in on the under? Or what the percentage was at least?
I have no idea. Let's see.
Doesn't
look like it.
That might have been smashed.
It's this back office thing.
Yeah.
I struggle with it sometimes.
All right.
No, I can't see it.
Huss, do we want to get right to the NFL? Or do we want to quickly put together an NHL parlay? There's 9 games tonight. Let's do that. Jake, get ready. Let's each pick a game for an NHL parlay tonight.
We've got a big game. I would love, you know what? I won't pick the Jets just out of superstition, but -125. Don't mind them. We do have a WST parlay.
What is the parlay, Huss? Oh, you're going to have it up later?
It was coming up. It's in already. I'm not sure if it's up yet. Jets money line We're going over 1 or more power play goals and Ehlers and the Pionky Tonk man, Neil Pionk, to get points.
Man, you guys are at that spot we used to be at here in Edmonton where you're just throwing power play goals into parlays. Amazing. God, I miss those days.
Well, last year it was under.
Dustin's acting like that wasn't last year. Like,
yeah, it's gone now.
Days have come and gone.
They've blown up.
I know they changed up the lines.
They did.
The same guys are still there.
They've blown it apart. It's done. It's a thing of the past now. All right, we do have 9 games tonight. Huss, you said you're not going to put the Jets on the parlay. What are you going to throw in the mix there?
I'm not going to put the Jets on the parlay. I am going to put you know what? I think I'm going to go with the Avalanche. Oh, geez. You know what? I bet this last night at minus 135. It's now minus 154.
Oh, wow.
We got a nice.
That's what we call a little CLV there, folks, for those wondering. A little closing line value from Huss. I usually get it the wrong way. I'll bet something early and it'll swing the wrong way, but Huss getting a little closing line value there on the
That being said, minus 154, I mean, I still do like them. The other one that I bet that's gone up significantly is Carolina over Calgary. That's now at minus 196. So I'll throw in the Avs at minus 154 right now.
Jake, where are you going?
Oh, I don't know. I'm liking some of the dogs on this board. Like, I know the Panthers are a bit banged up, but they're getting plus 130. The Rangers have been amazing. Minnesota Wild intrigued me at plus 135. They've been playing good hockey. And they get the Lightning tonight. You know, Lightning coming off a huge scoring game. Oh, I don't know. Tough one. I like Huss's Carolina pick. Like, if it's a parlay, I know it's a little juicy. We could go Carolina and reg maybe.
But if it's a parlay, the minus 196 isn't the end of the world. Like,
I don't think it kills us. I think if Huss is going to go Avs, I'll put a stamp in on the Hurricanes.
Dusty, what about you?
Well, there's a couple I'm looking at. I mean, the Rangers, I know Jake mentioned the Panthers as a bit of a dog, but he also did say there that the Rangers have been absolutely amazing. They're minus 154 at home here against the Florida Panthers. I don't hate that. Is there a bounce-back game in the cards for the New Jersey Devils tonight against Detroit? Detroit's won 2 in a row. The Devils have lost 2 in a row. It looks like Markstrom's going to go for the Devils tonight. So I don't hate that one either.
And Talbot going for Detroit, who has been the lesser of goalies when it comes to him and Alex Lyon early this season.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go Rangers, though. Rangers minus 154. So what would that be? Rangers minus 154. Hush, you were minus 154 as well. Colorado.
Yeah, in Colorado. It's plus 311 before the boost.
For those 3 teams, if you get Carolina in there?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, all right, we've got that. That's the NHL parlay. That'll be up on the combo cards. Jake and the crew over at Coolbet will get that up. We got the Thursday night to get to. Huss, quick update because I've been keeping you updated on my Spite League. I've been wheeling and dealing. So last night, Marshall, we call him the Barracuda. He was in the pool at swimming, and I was sitting there wheeling and dealing on the sideline. Like what a life! You're watching your son in the pool and you're wheeling and dealing. So I made a couple more trades in the Spite League last night. So my weakness was my kicker and my defense. I've been streaming kickers, and there was nobody available because it's a 16-team league. And then I had the Falcons as a defense. Last night I acquired Justin Tucker and the Ravens defense in one deal. And now what was my weakness has become one of my strengths. I'm very excited about it.
It's so funny, but I kind of agree with this. Like, well, especially in a 16-team league. Like, we pay no attention to kickers and defense at drafts for the most part. We just wait, whatever. And then this year, I mean, there are a ton of games that have absolutely flipped on the team defense and the kicker. Like, especially as some of the other teams have been positions have been deflated. So what did you have to give up?
I gave up my second-round pick next. I'm trading all my picks because I'm not even going to the draft next year. Like, screw me this year.
You're winning and then quitting.
I'm winning and then I'll decide. Anyway, I traded my second. I've had Jonathan Brooks on the IR all year. He could come back at some point, but I've got Derrick Henry, Bijan, and Gibbs, so he's not going to play. And then I traded Dontavian Wicks as well. I got Justin Tucker and the Ravens D. And then this morning, I traded Travis Kelce. I traded Travis Kelce. I have Brock Bowers, who scored like 40 more points than Kelce so far this year anyway. So I was like, you know what?
Start him every week.
I'll just ride Bowers. I won't be tempted to start Kelce anymore. So I traded Travis Kelce and Khalil Shakir to a guy for Amari Cooper, who I think is trending in the right direction. And I got Dalton Kincaid to be my backup tight end the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought it was a pretty good deal.
I like what you're doing.
Yeah. I didn't mind moving Kelce.
Operation.
I don't know. What do you think about Kelce, Huss? Is there like a fantasy resurgence in the second half here?
I mean, listen, the days of him being the clear-cut number one TE and then a massive gap and then everyone else.
Yeah, those are gone. Yeah.
I think are probably done. Like, will he have a few big games before the end of the season? I think he will for sure. And I think getting Nuke in is big. I was just listening to Andy Reid this morning. Sounds like Nuke's going to play this weekend. Like, I'm going to be there to see the debut of DeAndre Hopkins as a Chief. No idea what number he's going to wear. Like, every single number that he's ever worn or even variation of it is taken by the Chiefs. He could be number 0. Actually, I saw someone saying it was the only one, which would be a weird number. I don't know if I'm a big 0 guy, but anyways, he's going to be there. And that actually might help Kelce a little bit more because, I mean, they can just focus on him so much right now without anyone else really in the lineup. And as I say, you know me, I just hope that means Sky Moore is not on the 53 anymore because we can't handle. He is the 165th rated wide receiver in the league out of 166 that have played this year.
I saw he's on the IR now, right?
The experiment's over. Yeah, well, they move you over to that.
All right. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just wrapping up the hockey. So we've got that Colorado Carolina Ranger exclusive. We'll throw that up, presumably in the combo cards. Great game tonight, Dallas Boston, which will be worthwhile watching. And I'm pulling for Tampa tonight against Minnesota. They got that 5-1 win over Florida, who's beaten up a little bit. Tampa's been on the roll, but I would like to see a 1 in the regulation loss for Minnesota. So kind of pulling that. And then your Leafs, big favorite. Are we getting a big bounce back game after they got pumped by the Blue Jackets?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the real moment where it's like, okay, like what does Craig Berube hockey look like off a pretty embarrassing loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets? So, I mean, obviously I'm hoping for a bounce back. We'll have to see tonight. I'm optimistic, but you know, things can nosedive quick with this team. I'm sure you've seen it on my Twitter, and yeah, just hoping for some life back into this team. Sounds like Joseph Wool is going to go tonight, so that'll be an interesting, interesting element to it. He's been out since the start of the year with a slight injury, so you know, I already got my buddies in the group chat being like, "It's Stoller's net. Don't take Stollers out of the net." I'm just like, okay, it was Wolves' net until he got hurt, and you guys were all fine with that. And then the minute Stollers, who I love, by the way, the minute he shows a bit of impressive hockey, you're immediately kicking Wool to the curb. Like, it's okay to have 2 goalies that are good. Yes, eventually I think you do have to go to a number 1, but it doesn't hurt you to have a backup who can also win you hockey games.
Well, hey, listen, your guys are nothing like those psychos in Edmonton who were chanting Skinner sucks on the LRT coming home from the game the other day.
After he was brilliant.
Dusty chatting about that. Yeah. What a frustrating life you live, Dusty. Because I see it on Twitter, but I don't have to respond. You basically have to respond to the crazy fans. Me being one of them in Leafs Nation, but you have to talk about it. And I don't know. I don't know
if I can handle you,
especially when they're losing.
I don't know if I can handle you as Leafs fan coming at me as Leafs media guy. You know, oh God.
You should see Pat and Shane when I start getting negative, they're like, I can't do this all year, Jake. Stop texting the group
Shut
chat.
up.
Stop. And so it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
All right, let's dive into it. Vikings and Rams Thursday nighter. Minnesota moneyline favorites on the road -141. The Rams +130 at home. This line was 3 last night. It's at 2.5 right now. Minnesota 2.5-point favorites on the road in LA against the Rams, and the total is sitting at 48. Huss, general thoughts on that 2.5 before we dive into likely some player props for the parlay.
One of the fishiest lines of the year, without a doubt. There's a reason for it. And listen, if you want to, you're like 2.5. Well, what's 3? the difference between three, like if you're liking the Vikings, minus 115 to cover three, it's plus 105. If you like the Rams, plus 106 at plus 2.5, minus 123 if you get it to three. Here's what has me really considering taking the Rams tonight. The Lions hangover it's not just a take. Listen to how teams did the week after playing Detroit this year. The Rams, when the Rams and the Cardinals, a loss 41-10. Buccaneers versus Broncos, loss 26-7. Cardinals versus Commanders, loss 42-12. And the Seahawks versus the Giants, loss 29-20. Teams are getting beat up playing Detroit. And to me, this is even more significant tonight because this is a Thursday night game. And I mean, we knew how much went into that game. That was a huge, huge one in the NFC North. You're playing a team that's sort of beat up. They're at home. You're traveling to the West Coast for this one, playing it even earlier. This is a really tough spot for Minnesota. I would say that if you like the Vikings, I think this is a money line bet. And to be honest, I mean the Rams at +3 or even +3.5 at minus 147 might be the other side to get in on it. I think this is going to be a really tight game, and I think Minnesota is going to have to really buckle down if they want to get this win. Like the crazy thing about the Rams are, as much as they've sucked and they've been so injured and everything like that, I mean, they're just 2 games out of first place in their division. I mean, they get a win or two and they're right back in it. Seattle's 4-3. They're not, any world beater. And then of course, Arizona and San Francisco are 3-4. So I don't know. To me, this just like you would think, oh, the Vikings are way better than the Rams. And I really do think they are. But that doesn't always mean that's the way that's going out. And I've been staring at this line for the last 3 days thinking like, wait a second, this could absolutely be a night that the Rams go and get this done.
When it kept moving in the favor the other way, like saw that number drop from 3 to minus 2.5. I'm like, man, you want us to take the Vikings big time here. Jake, where are you at on this one?
Get out your fisher rods, boys. It's a fishy one.
Yeah.
I'm already on the Rams. I took them +3. I sprinkled the money line this morning. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, a lot of factors are weighing in. Huss broke it all down. Like you play the Lions, you play against Dan Campbell's, man football. You're beat up. Then you got to go out to the West Coast on short rest. I believe the Rams are getting cut back for sure tonight.
Yeah.
Puka is questionable. I'm going to guess Puka probably doesn't go from the reports I've been seeing, but just Cooper Kupp on its own is a big factor for that Rams offense. That opens the field up that much more. Listen, I'm on the Rams. If we put it I don't know how you feel about it, Dusty. If we were putting in a parlay, I'd probably take it to 3.5. But I don't know. And to hear Huss say that, because Huss has been all over the Vikings all year long, early on here. But to hear Huss even be like, I think it might be a tough spot and it might be the Rams night, it makes me feel a lot better, that's for sure. And listen, it's all coming together here. I came on the show Monday and I was like, hey guys, jump on the Packers, 8-1 to win the NFC. And then all the 49ers news rolls out this week. They are so beat up. So, the 49ers are falling down the list for me. The Vikings lose tonight. All of a sudden, the Packers are right back in the race. Like I said, Dusty, it's the Lions division, or the Lions conference to lose. But I'm telling you right now, the Green Bay Packers at 8-1 are still great value. If the Vikings lose tonight, I assume that Packers number might get a little bit better. And then if the Packers go into Jacksonville after they coming back from London and win this week, Packers number is absolutely going to get better. So I'm once again pleading, please take the value on the Packers to win the NFC right now.
Hey, quick note before we get into this, just on the Packers. And you know that I was big on them before the season and have my biggest futures of the year are Jordan Love MVPs. Jordan Love is off the board right now for the MVP. Everybody else is out there. And remember earlier on this week, he was right in that, I think, 12 or 14 to 1. He could take over the lead in touchdown passes in the league this week. In this game, he's with missing 2, and we know the kind of the trajectory of Green Bay. So I'm not sure whether that's just it was off for a minute or he's taken out, but don't sleep on the Packers and Jordan Love right now, folks. And I think there's still time to get a piece of him.
Parlay for the game tonight. Jake, you said if we want to move the Rams to plus 3.5, we all like them, and I do.
Let's do that.
I'm okay with that. I like Stafford over 238.5 passing yards tonight as well, as he gets Cooper Kupp back. So I'd like to throw that into the mix. Jake, Huss, do you have a player prop that you wouldn't mind mixing in here?
You know what? I think I'm going to give a little shout out to Patty, because I don't think we've got the Patty primetime with him being away. Let me throw up the field goals. I think we're going to get some field goals in this game tonight. Indoor spot over 3.5 field goals.
I don't hate the field goals tonight either. The total I think has come down a point since it opened earlier this week. I'm not going to bet it most likely, but I think I would lean under. And when I tend to think under, and to think field goals, like you take your points where you can get them. So I don't mind that either. It wasn't a ton of props. I think I'm on. Unfortunately, we don't have it, but Kupp longest reception tonight. I think I got it at over 20.5. I'm just thinking like Kupp. I think he could have played last week, and they kept him out one more week. So I'm going to guess Kupp's is close to 100%. Post injury. I might be wrong to think that, but that's how I'm playing it, and I think he's going to get a lot of burn tonight. So that would be the other guy if we were going to go. I don't know if we want to have 3 Rams props. It doesn't really make sense to me. I think field goals probably makes more sense, but I'd probably go like Kupp receptions. I think it's 6.5 right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think the field goals probably makes more sense. Rams plus 3.5. Yeah, we could go field goals and then Stafford and Kupp, but I think we like the Rams plus 3.5. So Rams plus 3.5, field goals over 3.5. Huss, Cooper Kupp over on the catches, or Stafford over 238.5.
You know what? I think Stafford. It's going to be on his shoulder. I mean, we still haven't seen Cooper Kupp back yet.
Yeah, listen, after the Mike Evans debacle on Monday night, I think we just stick with the guy who we know is healthy. Like, let's stick with Stafford and wait and see on Kupp. Because, we could be sitting here like, oh, my God, what a game from Kupp. We could also be sitting here like, oh, my God, Kupp's been a non-factor. Like,
he wasn't ready
more
to come back, all that type of stuff. Yeah, okay, so let's do that. Rams plus 3.5, Stafford over 238.5. If you want to move it down a bit, probably can do that. And then field goals over 3.5. Huss, what's coming up when you pick Sports Talk before you jet off to Vegas here?
Well, you know what? We're getting ready for the big Monday game here in the Peg between my Jets and Jake's Leafs. Jody Shelley is coming on the program. We'll also be all over tonight's game in Seattle. Mike McIntyre is going to join us. And Moose Home Opener on the weekend. Dan Fink's going to pop by. And we're going to play an interview I did last week with Axel Janssen-Fjallby. So it's going to be good. And this just reminded me, I am away on Monday, but it is the Jets-Leafs game. Amazon taking over tonight. Text me on Monday. I'm not sure. I don't even know when my flight is, but it's later on that day. I might be able to jump in for 5 or 10 just from my phone or whatever from where I am, and maybe mix it up with Jake before we go head to head. But I'm hoping the perfect scenario is the Jets can win tonight against Calgary, and they're 8-0. Going into Arrowhead to see the Chiefs play the Raiders on Sunday afternoon. Check out my Instagram and Twitter. I'll be firing some stuff out there. But it's going to be fun. Let's get a couple wins on the way out tonight before hitting the road. And I will text you my best bets for the show tomorrow. And we'll keep it rolling.
Excellent. Enjoy the game tonight, Jake. Just so you know, I love you. Even on the LeBron stuff, I love you.
you too.
Good chat, buddy. It was a lot of fun.
We have to. Sometimes we got
it. Hey, not everybody can agree on everything ever. All right, that's going to do it for the Lock Shop today. 2 guys and a goalie. Matt Cassian just walked in. Myself, Cass Gager. 2 guys and a goalie. Coming up next right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, Winnipeg Sports Talk, starting in a couple of minutes over on the WST channel as well. Thank you very much for joining us today on the Lock Shop. Good luck tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow.